Welcome back to Season 2 of Sailing Sitka. We are Jay and Kenna, two young Canadians who stepped outside the box of comfort and decided to act on their ambitions of sailing around the world. We first set sail from Victoria, BC, Canada, and have been adventuring around Mexico ever since. In this season, we'll be sailing on, further south and closer towards our dreams of exploring everywhere the sea touches. So sit back, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. On this episode of Sailing Sitka, we are anchored in La Paz, Mexico. Known for its beautiful beaches and turquoise water, but more importantly, a mecca for the cruiser community. Here we are focusing on prepping our boat Sitka for a 350 nautical mile passage across the Sea of Cortez. Apart from stocking our boat with food, we are also doing all the mandatory maintenance that Sitka needs. La Paz is an incredibly accessible and easy port to do work in, as there are numerous boat chandleries nearby. Last week, we did a yearly oil change, as well as a primary fuel filter change, and lastly, a gearbox oil change. Continuing on this mission, this episode will have a little insight on what it's like owning and maintaining a boat while cruising. Let us know in the comments down below what you think or what you want to see more of. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy Jay rambling about boat-related topics for the better half of this episode. May this be your first and only warning.
Let's do this.
All right, guys, day 3 in a row of doing engine work. So the reason I don't do it all in a row, A, it becomes a long day, and B, if you do a bunch of things on the engine and then all of a sudden you start having issues, like when you're starting it or it won't run, then it becomes harder to diagnose what you did wrong. Versus if I do one filter, start the engine, it runs great, and then the next day it runs great again, then I know that that step was done completely well and it didn't introduce air or any other issues into the engine. So it makes your diagnostics process a lot easier. So today we're doing the secondary filter. So this filter right here, that's on the engine. Now this is the one that's the most likely to cause issue because you get air in the system there past the fuel pump, which bleeds air out on this engine. So you do have to bleed it at that level. But if we do everything right, all we have to do, because I'll pre-fill the filter and try to do as little a mess as possible. But on this engine, it's really easy. All you got to do is loosen this return line, and then Kenna's going to be at the engine panel, activate the fuel pump, and once this is a solid stream of diesel and no more air, I tighten this down and we start the engine, and that should be the end of it. We really only do this like once a year unless we'd have issues, but which luckily we've never had. So this is what the filter looks like, and I'll just put this in here and I'll fill it with this, and then I'll screw it on. It's hard to not get some anywhere because, as per usual, it's pretty tight in here. Yeah, I won't be able to do that by hand. No, this. Then it's getting this thing on sometimes can be the biggest problem. By the way, you shouldn't use a tool to put them on. It's just, but to take them off, it's fine. You always think you're smart until you gotta figure out what way to undo a filter, I find. Okay. The hardest part about these things is just the access. Like, the job itself is quite simple. It's just, and this would be easy if my engine room was in the size of Harry Potter's bedroom. Okay. Alright, so Kenna right now is at the engine panel, and then basically what she's gonna do is when I tell her go, she's gonna be turning the key to the to the on position, not the start. So on is just the fuel pump, and then I'll bleed all the air out of the system by just loosening that flathead screw that's holding that return line. So this guy here, and once I see only diesel coming out, I'll tighten it, and then I'll tell her to start it. All right, so I'm just gonna loosen this a tiny bit. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, and now turn her over.
So on or start?
No, start, turn her over. Give her some gas.
while Jay is fixing everything on the boat, I am down here editing number 94. 94 weeks, you guys. Also repping the Sitka merch. So if you guys want to go get you some of that, I'll link it somewhere on the screen. Yeah, 94 weeks. I don't know how many days that is. If somebody could do the math, that would be great. Let me know, because I feel like I'm feeling a little defeated lately. And usually I never like to get upset on camera because it's a little bit dumb, I find, at times. But I'm at that point where I feel demotivated and stressed out, and you know, it's a lot of work doing this and maintaining a channel and editing and publishing videos every week. It's a lot. So that's just kind of my real feelings at the moment, and also the reason why I haven't been as present in the videos this week in La Paz. I'm a human being with feelings, clearly. And you know what? I just wasn't having it lately. And that is the reality of life sometimes. So luckily I was in between editing, able to help film. But yeah, I definitely wasn't as present, and I'm sorry. I was busy producing some hopefully rad episodes for you guys. I very much want to continue to do this, but sometimes it gets hard, you know, and that's life.
All right, guys, Kenna is doing some editing and I'll be doing some boat washing. It's pretty windy again still, so let's get crack-a-lackin'. It's part of being a sailor. Gotta keep her clean. By the way, cleaning on a sailboat is not just about looks there. It's mostly about getting the salt off, which gets things really corroded. To be fair, I should have done this a week ago when we just got in La Paz, but we had people on board and we had a little fun, drank some margaritas. It was a good time. So now I'm just gonna rinse everything off. We have this whole bucket of fresh water, and this is all fresh water that we use to shower. But here in La Paz, we're lucky this water is actually drinkable as well, which is very rare in Mexico. The only two spots that we've encountered that is here in La Paz and in Puerto Escondido. In Puerto Escondido, though, you pay quite a pretty penny for that. But here, it's pretty cheap. They charge you 50 pesos a day, and that gives you the use of the dinghy dock, landing garbage, their water, their little carts to go to the gas station or whatnot. So for $4 Canadian a day, that's a pretty good, it's a pretty good deal actually. The fact that it includes unlimited fresh water right at the dinghy dock is a game changer. So we're more than happy to pay the $4 for that service. Anyways, let's get crack-a-lackin'.
While Jay finished the remainder of rinsing down our home with fresh water, I continued editing down below and powering through the rut I was in. It's natural to have low moments in life. As long as you can dig your way out, remind yourself exactly what you're capable of doing and why you started it in the first place. Thank you to everyone who watches and supports the creations I do for this channel. Each one of you help us continue this adventure we are on and motivate me to keep videos coming each week. You all are so awesome.
Just woke up and came outside and we got a dragon on board. It's a dragonfly. Hey buddy. He's probably taking a rest. We're gonna launch the dinghy right now. It's like 7:40 in the morning. It's supposed to blow today. So I just want to have the dinghy in the water so we don't run into this scenario where it gets dangerous launching it. So we're gonna do it while it's calm. Kenna's in her cat pajamas.
Let's go.
And an awesome Sailing Sitka shirt. If you guys haven't had the chance already, go check out our Sitka sailing shirts.
I can't even do it. Let's go.
And I gotta do the coolant line after. As you can tell, I'm more the morning person. So anyways, let's do this. guys, there's like tons of current in this spot. So like right now we're pointing with the wind and current, but sometimes even if it's blowing 30, we're pointing the opposite way of the wind here in La Paz.
Jay electrocuted me for real.
Oh, this was literally the funniest thing.
No, it's not.
Kenna screamed like it was the end of the world. I'm just cleaning up this area under the fireplace and I found this wire. Literally, these are both ends. There is no power source, people. And I just like did, ah! And then she yelled like I was electrocuting her for real with a taser gun.
I didn't have time in the 3 seconds that you electrocuted me to understand that it's not a working circuit thing.
A working circuit things, people. It's not a working circuit.
Anyway, Jay's being rude.
Pure gold.
No, it's not. He's being an OCD golden retriever right now. And I'm still editing. What's new? What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right, guys. Today we're finally tackling that coolant leak. I just came up with an idea yesterday, which I don't know why I didn't come up with it before, because it requires no additional supplies or parts or tools that I don't possess. So I should have done that a while ago. So basically, if I take off all the fittings on the engine and put the end caps on that Yanmar has, then I take away the possibility of using what we already have on there that's good in the future for a potential hot water tank, versus this time around what I'm gonna do instead is just I'm gonna like loop it basically, but bypass these pipes. These are the issue. So like the soft pipe that are on the engine, which I'll show you in a few minutes, those are fine, they're not leaking. What's leaking is the ball valves at pressure let a little bit of coolant go through. I mean, these ball valves are not meant, I think, to be pressurized anyways. So what happens is coolant at a certain temperature goes up and comes into these hard pipes, which go down and connect to the soft hoses, and then they leak. So you can tell here, this is all coolant in here. Like if I use a paper towel, see, it's all red, and I just removed 2 paper towels that are there and they're soaked in coolant. That's where all our coolant's been going. And then when they get completely soaked, they leak against the hull, and that's why we get it in the forward bilge. So it's not leaking from the engine, which is the good thing, and it's not leaking an incredible amount. It looks like a lot because it's just like paper towel soaks up the red, but after motoring for like several hours, we technically only lose about a cup, which is not the end of the world, but it is if you're doing long motoring sessions like of 30 hours, then it can become a real big issue. And like, we don't motor like this a lot, but sometimes it is something that is a safety thing when you're trying to get away from weather or you have issues. So we want to have that sorted. So all this to say that this morning I'm gonna get into this. So I'm gonna take the engine room hatches apart, and then we're gonna get going on here. Because what I wanted to do at first is completely remove the in and out of that loop with a valve, and then cap them off here, and then cap this off under here. What I'm gonna do instead, which is super easy, because there's no issues with these hoses. The issues arise when it transfers these old ass metal hoses that are original to the boat. Like, it's the same metal that they've used for the drain for the fridge. And then you can see the coolant down there, because what ends up happening is, here, if I open this over here, the coolant leaks down here, which is from there, that compartment leaks down, goes here, and on that paper towel that I've put to like monitor it, then it goes down to the next level and then drains in the forward bilge there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this hose off, this hose that reaches over there, and then this hose also reaches over there. I'm gonna cut this hose here, and I'm gonna connect it to here. So it's just gonna be one loop, and it's gonna be full of coolant. It still will leave the valve open, and there's gonna be no issue. And if ever this hose leaks, at least it's right here, and we can see it and we can fix it. So that's a plan. Okay, so what I did is I've taken this one out, and then I've cut this one right here. Then I'm gonna disconnect this guy. We want it to go like, take this shit out. And this goes right there. And that's all she wrote. And that's it. Now we have a closed loop system where it shouldn't be able to leak. I don't know why I didn't do this a while ago, honestly with you. So basically,
Don't mind the tin foil there, it's just so that if this got, I didn't want coolant going on top of the starter. So that's pretty much the fix right there. So now this hose here is completely good to go. Like, it's just a tiny hose, right? So if there's any leaks or anything, we'll see them right away. And this hose here, we can take all this off. So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. It's gonna be removing these hoses, because we have these hoses that I gotta pull up. So if you look at these metal hoses there, they're ancient. Like look at this shit.
Holy crap.
So yeah, I'm cutting these hoses and moving them around. You'll probably see more here if I do this. It's probably, that one's leaking probably from the aft one. So for you guys who don't know, like, the purpose of these hoses is we used to have a hot water tank there, and then it would circulate through the hot water tank. So when you were motoring, the heat of the engine would actually heat up the hot water, which was great. But that hot water tank shit the bed once we got to Ensenada last year, and it's too bad because it worked really good before that. But you know, these old plate things, I don't know how to take them off. There's like no room in here. Maybe I can pull them from the back side. Now let's see. Yeah. Whew. Okay, the last of the hoses. Whew. That was not the most fun I've had, but I'm glad it's done. Yeah, they were just breaking off by hand, so they were beyond due. Good morning, you beautiful people. Exciting news. We got a crew member coming for our upcoming passage. You'll meet him shortly, but his name's Warren. He's somebody that's taught me a lot about sailing throughout the years. He's an absolute gem of a human being. So we'll introduce him. He's actually flying in today from Guadalajara in Mexico. And it's gonna be pretty rad to have him on board. And right now, Kenna's doing some editing.
What's new?
What's new, people? And I'm gonna be going over just the boat before we do this crossing, because it's gonna be the biggest crossing we do this season so far. So, and especially after all the stuff we did on the engine, so I'm gonna just pull the floor open and make sure our coolant level stayed stable since yesterday after removing those coolant pipes and then adding coolant. I just want to make sure that everything's good to go. That little shackle under the gooseneck needs to be whipped, because I noticed it wasn't, and that's what caused all our gooseneck issue last season. So before we do a big crossing, I'm gonna go whip that so it can't undo itself, and then the pin can go up. I'll show you that in a little bit. And yeah, just little things. We got tomorrow, I think we're gonna go do final load of laundry, get some water, last bits of groceries and things we need, maybe a little bit more gas for the generator and for the outboard. I might clean the hull too, but not here in La Paz because the water's gross and the currents are nuts. But before we do our crossing, we're gonna be sailing to Los Muertos, which is a day sail away. So like I think 8 hour sail from here. So once we drop the hook there, I might jump in and do a light scrub. The hull's not really dirty since the bottom paint's pretty new, but La Paz is known to like things grow fast. I'm sure the anchor chain's going to be gross, so we'll probably be able to test out our high pressure pump for the first time since we've installed it permanently when we lift the anchor, and just spray that chain out so we don't have to rinse the deck a million times. But yeah, that's what's on the agenda today. All right, well, the time has come to reel our new reel, because you've seen our other one was garbage. This one's a bit smaller, but it'll work perfect. And then I'm putting the same line I had on before, which is 130 test line, which that fish snapped like nothing. And then we got 2 new cedar plugs, so I'll rig that up. and then we'll be ready for when we cross here in a few days. Welcome to Jay and Kenneth's fishing shop. We reel bobbins here by hand like it's the olden days. Use a pencil and that's it. We technically don't really need that much line on here because we usually just troll like about a boat length away, so like 40 feet, maybe 60 sometimes. But that way you don't lose the fish, because our goal is really just to eat it. So.
We're gonna get a marlin. I am sewing another lee cloth for our quarter berth for our very good friend Warren, who's going to be accompanying us on our offshore sail across the sea. So Jay is lifting my 1,000-pound sewing machine up.
I always worry it's gonna drop my feet. Can we open the table, love?
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is like she built tough. They don't quite build them like this anymore. There is no plastic on this thing. It's all metal. Hopefully it's on the right side.
Rip.
No.
No, it turns around.
Turn around, every now and then I get a little stir crazy and I want to sew a lee cloth on my boat. Turn around, sew.
It's so heavy.
Holy shit, I'm gonna give myself a hernia. I'm only 34 today. I'm way too young to give myself a hernia.
Stop.
And this is my foot pedal.
Stop.
Takes me back to tattoo days. Okay, go down, my love.
The spiders are still in there.
Yeah, they're dead though. They fried themselves.
Yeah.
They fried themselves. Alright, I'll be down here getting the bottom of the lee cloth set up.
Well, we didn't have any more punchy outy thingies.
the punchy outy thing, so Kenna had to sew the old part on it. Welcome to sailing life. This happens quite a lot.
So that's our old lee cloth that broke.
And we recycled these basically.
Yeah.
And
so
then
we just sewed that part onto the new part.
And then this gets through bolted. And then this goes at the bottom. What didn't work so great was the top.
Yeah.
Where it ripped through. That's why this time we opted to put a line through it completely, so then there's strain on all the entirety of it versus just 2 points. So that should work better. So we'll have a static point tied up there that we can undo, and then here's just going to be I'll cut this off and make a bowline, and there'll be an elastic with that hook here.
I want to know, to the people that have gotten fabric in Mexico, how would you rate your experience? Because it's kind of bonkers here. How do you even explain it?
It's just I personally kind of get it. It's just very time consuming. Like, to get a piece of material in a store here, and it's not the language barrier, because we see everybody there do the same process as us, and it's like those steps could be cut in half. I'll say that.
Yeah.
There you have it, people. A nice little safe bunk that keeps you right in here. That way you can't fall out at sea. I mean, you wouldn't fall out far because there's this too, right? So it's not like you would completely roll off, but that way it keeps you in and gives you a little bit of privacy too. And then super easy to just get out. We'll just pull that, and then this is down, and get in your bunk, and
Cute.
that's it. So yeah, and here it's just around a washer there, so should be good. Good job, my love.
Who wants to come for a sleepover?
A sleepover.
Stay tuned next week as we begin our crossing of the sea with a new and salty crew member. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Sailing Sitka. Stick around for more to come. If you enjoyed, please spread the love and let us know. Special thank you to our Patreon members for making these videos possible, as well as helping our dreams come true. See you all next week.